with seniors began for me at a very early age, which then turned into a passion and a vision back in 1989. So I'm dating myself a little bit. But so some folks may remember, the times in senior development at that time. During the 15 years as a senior center director, I began to see an increasing number of mobile and independent participants that were attending our program at the time, having a higher level of difficulty with certain tasks. It was starting to be pronounced. So the need for assistance with meals, restroom breaks, decreased mobility during our out trips and the like were on the rise. And that's when senior centers were the big thing, and the place for seniors to go. Remember also the Older Americans Act was reauthorized, and so there was a big push for these kinds of programs. And so folks were coming out. But as the years went on, obviously, there was a deterioration in abilities. So myself, in search of ideas to assist our participants, I looked around to see what was happening at the time, for services. I came across an article actually in Inc. magazine of a woman-owned, operated adult daycare in Southington, Connecticut. I remember her name, Susan Armstrong. And she was featured. They did a big feature in Inc. magazine, and I was instantly intrigued. I really was. I met her, I researched the concept, and the rest really became history in my little bio that I think, was circulated. So during that time, the conversations and trends around aging in place began to shift towards services that would support frail elders living independently. So entered the 202 housing, and the emergence of senior housing was beginning to be a big thing as well. And it addressed the needs for safe and secure sheltering for elders. But over time, the on-site bricks and mortars managers couldn't handle what was going to be unfolding for them. They were encountering the challenge of managing independent residents with declining ADLs. Okay? And the associated problems that came with that, which was maintenance issues, clogged bathrooms, fires. I mean, the folks that had difficulty keeping, order in their apartments. Ramesa East, the adult daycare, opening in Towers 2 senior housing in Bridgeport, was an attempt to create an assisted living services environment for residents. For 15 years, the center provided residents with medically supervised adult day services in a residential setting, which also provided management with assistance in monitoring residents requiring a higher level of need and of care and support, which was pretty novel at the time to create that kind of situation there. The other thing that happened was it would help families wanting to keep their loved ones independently at home, and it provided peace of mind, basically, in that setting back then. So what is adult daycare exactly? So the National Association of Adult Day Services is the leading voice of the rapidly growing adult day services industry. It redefined adult day services to help clarify to the greater public what ADS provides and who it represents in our adult communities, and a clear understanding of the critical role that adult daycare plays in the continuum of long-term care. The new definition, and this just happened recently within the last year, and partly because there was a confusion as to really what does adult daycare do? Is it home care? Is it a hybrid? So there was always these questions throughout the years, and I think that's been the challenge. We recognize it at the Adult Daycare Association level, that it's been difficult to really identify. And when you have legislators that are making decisions on appropriation, it's hard to get them to understand. And that was the question, the prevalent question at the time. So the new definition is adult day services is a system of professionally delivered, integrated, home and community-based therapeutic, social, and health-related services provided to individuals to sustain living within the community. Yes.
Just a quick question. This is become a recent debate in home care, how we're licensed and classified. So what is Adult Day? Is it Department of Consumer Protection, Department of Public Health?
The adult daycare throughout the nation basically has, it depends on the Department of Social Services, but in Connecticut, we are overseen by the Department of Social Services. We are certified. So we have a peer group in the Connecticut Association of Adult Daycares that does peer review and certifies this. And so in order to have a contract with the state, you must be certified in Connecticut through that entity. So that's how we do it here. It varies throughout the state, throughout the nation. And it's really interesting because some states are very progressive with adult daycare and have even more oversight through consumer protection in those entities. So the National Institute on Aging, I've got a video that.
Living independently at home is something many older adults would like to do as long as they can. Senior centers, adult daycare, transportation, and meals programs are long-term care services available in the community, which make it easier for older adults to remain in their homes. It might feel very strange. Adult daycare programs provide health, social, and other services for adults with mental or physical impairments.
Okay, all that matters is that you keep your feet pressing into the floor, your mouth soft, and the breath moving.
Individuals usually go to adult daycare when they can't stay on their own at home. They need some supervision. Many people with conditions like Alzheimer's may need to use an adult day, particularly if they have a family caregiver, and that family caregiver is a working family caregiver.
Staff at adult daycare programs try to develop an understanding of each participant's health needs and gear services accordingly.
We do our assessments on the participants, look at whatever diagnosis they have. With that, we kind of look at whatever activities they require, the diet that they need, even medications that need to be administered when they're here at the center. We can even go as far as providing certain skilled services like wound dressing or checking blood glucose monitors.
The social side of adult daycare is managed by a recreational therapist who organizes activities for the participants.
Well, hopefully we have a little bit that'll cater to everyone's interests. We have music, we have balloon volleyball, some active games, some solitaire games, some quiet card games.
And wherever that ball drops, the opposite team gets the first serve. Got it?
Our volleyball program is designed to help them with gross motor skills, breathing, also gets their whole body moving. Music is an all-time favorite for all of our folks, whether they be low functioning or high functioning. We have a wonderful music therapist. She comes out quite a bit through the month, and she puts together a wonderful program with music and movement. She will sing songs, and sometimes they're the old favorites, and sometimes there's some newer stuff, and she gets everybody moving and grooving.
Adult daycare programs also provide meals and snacks during the day. Many also provide transportation to and from their programs.
We play games, we sing songs. It gets me out of the house instead of watching the stupid TV all day.
For family members, that's peace of mind that we provide, that they come to a certain program like Adult Day Health Care, and they know that their loved ones are going to be cared for.
To find out more about adult daycare and other long-term care services available in your community, contact the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116 or go to www.eldercare.gov. You can also contact your local area agency on aging.
So that gives you an idea.
Okay, good.
You an idea of what adult daycare is. And so at our center, in Stratford. So Sunset Shores and Ramisa provide that variety of those services that you just saw. So we have, in addition to that, we have the Harborview Next Step Division, which is allows cognitively impaired adults to thrive with a program of person-centered and community living experiences that align with their disabilities or their abilities, whatever they do. So that, and interestingly enough as well, during the pandemic, a lot of those programs, as we all saw, went out of existence. They just, because no one was going to programs. Now we're seeing 3 years into this that people are more comfortable. There's the fatigue of being at home with your person. And so they're looking to get out more. Sunset Shores Harborview program is quickly getting a waiting list, really, because there's such an interest and a demand for folks to come out and have a place where they can bring their disabled adults. So our fiscal intermediary program is a payment support service through DDS for adults and families that require payment services for their services in and outside Connecticut. Sunset Shores is a member of the Connecticut Association of Adult Daycares as well as NASDA. And what we're doing now, and what we've always been doing, but I think it's pretty aggressive now in the nation as well, in terms of promoting the awareness and the benefits of adult daycare, as you can see from that video, and that adult daycare is rapidly becoming the most cost-effective option in long-term care today. You probably have seen the Genworth financial cost of care study of 2021. They had one in 2014, and now in 2021 they just completed one, and they found that the monthly cost of care in a nursing home was between $7,000 and $9,000. In assisted living, it was $4,500. Homemaker services about $49.57. A home health aide at $51.48. And in adult daycare, the average cost was about $16.90 a month. Okay, so there are over 4,000 adult daycares nationwide. In Connecticut, there are 38 from the pre-pandemic of 46 in our state. So it's definitely a program that needs to be considered part of the continuum, and that's what we're pushing, and at the national level as well. So what's the future for adult daycare in Connecticut? Well, in Connecticut right now, as we speak, there's the legislator, the Connecticut State Legislative Task Force and work groups are actively looking into expanding and strengthening adult daycares. And I talked to somebody earlier that, that's really, it's on the table for the state of Connecticut. The other thing is the state plan has included expanding adult daycare to provide remote services. Now, this was all pandemic driven. So the new concept of Adult Daycare Plus, which is a service that's going to be considered as a backup supporting people at home before and after hours, because that's really a crucial part of being able to partake in adult daycare. We're looking at ways with the legislator focusing on support for ways to elevate the public awareness on the crucial value of adult daycare, fitting into the continuum of care. There's no doubt that over the past 3 years, and certainly even though so many were disappeared, if we couldn't adapt, that's what would happen in this pandemic. We disappeared, and some of our centers did close. I hope this has been helpful for you. My contact information is there. I'm sorry about the video, but I do thank you for the opportunity.